the Southwest Boxing Media and Association of Bricks and Street. We're delighted to be joined with 4-0 Max Mudway. Max, how are you, mate? How was things?
Yeah, all good, mate. Yeah, ticking over.
Oh, wicked. How happy, mate, are you that, the gym is open and we've got some sort of normality back to life?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, for me as well, it means that I've actually got my work back on track as well. So not long just before the first lockdown, become a personal trainer here, doing like boxing classes and boxing one-to-ones. So it means I can actually get a steady income going again as well. So it's massive for me, mate. Yeah.
Oh, wicked. I mean, the sort of pandemic has had, a massive impact on, well, everybody really, but, especially like boxers like yourself, sort of 4-0. I mean, what's been the impact for you?
Well, I mean, before the pandemic happened, I was one of the ones that was like, it's going to be my year,
Yeah.
4-0, about to sort of start stepping into the six rounders, and by this point, I probably would have been looking at an eliminator for my first title. As it stands, we are where we are. Everyone's in the same position, and I think that's sort of the only saving grace that really kept me sort of sane. Really, was the fact that knowing that everyone's in the same position. But at the same time as well, I got to, in a certain way, be quite thankful because I've grown so much in a year. I've learned more about my boxing in the last year than I have in my whole career as a boxer in general. I've got a great team around me. Got a great girl by my side, now my fiance, with also a baby on the way as
Oh,
well.
congratulations.
Thank you very much. So the drive's just only growing and getting more. So yeah.
Is it just sort of being, staying focused because, none of us have known when, when we're going to be coming out, just in case that phone rings at any time. Is that sort of been the mindset?
Yeah, I mean, just like every other human being, I mean, there comes a time where you lose a bit of faith every now and again. You might have a little bit of a dip in training, pick it back up, but at the moment I'm currently high hopes for the future, keeping myself ready. As soon as that phone call comes, mate, I'm going to be literally rocket straight up the ass. Here we go,
Definitely. So the last time you were out, February 2020, I mean, you must have proper itchy knuckles now, mate. Is there any sort of news on the horizon where you can get those gloves back on and get back in the ring?
Nah, no sort of news at the moment. I mean, there's a few shows. We do a lot with the Nielsen's and that, and I think they've actually booked shows for sort of September. They're looking at September. My manager, John Peggy, he's not long signed a deal with Hennessy Sports for Channel 5 and that. And like I say, if it was just a couple months later, I would have had a couple more fights, potentially. Well, it would have been 2 6-rounders potentially, and then it would have given me a little bit more clout behind me to potentially get a fight on one of these Hennessy Sports shows. I'm still hoping for June, which would be really, really amazing. If I could have a fight for my little boys here, that would be amazing. But if not, then September's the goal, and you just got to take every day as it comes.
Definitely. I mean, your last fight was against, the tough John Arden. I mean, we saw, the matchroom prospect.
John Hedges, yeah.
John Hedges, first fight, sort of struggle with him. I mean, what's that like for you, mate? Seeing that this massive prospect is going to go on and win world titles, struggle with an opponent that you sort of dealt with very well.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't actually watch the fight myself, but my trainer told me about it, and it gives me a lot of confidence, man. It's really good sort of for my career moving forward. He was sort of my first proper test at my first 4 fights, and like I say, I dealt with it pretty easy. I learned a lot about in that fight from the build up and everything, and like I said to another one of the lads, pro boxing and amateur boxing is very different, and I think now I fully understand why you have to have these first few fights starting from the bottom to learn your trade. And it's not only about sort of getting in there fighting with these lads, because it's a tough game, yeah, everyone knows that, but it's the build up to fights, it's the camps, it's the dieting, it's
the
mindset, social media, everything sort of comes into play, and you've got to be able to juggle it all and deal with it all for that one day.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Obviously you've boxed sort of at middle at 154. Is there sort of 147 is what you're going to be aiming at in the future? You remain at 154 for the moment?
So 147 is definitely what I'll be aiming at for the future. When things come back to being open and I'm allowed to actually fight again, it'll probably be first fight or 2 will be at super well or light middle, just to get my last little couple of learning fights out of the way, and then as soon as I'm ready for a live bout, mate, I'll be getting myself down. I'm not going to kill myself to get myself down when I've got a couple more learning fights and a few more hoops to jump through, shall we say.
Yeah, wicked, mate. So you've been with John training since the age of 14. John has said you've had a few a life before boxing. Any sort of stories you can tell us, mate, or is it?
Well, I mean, I started boxing from a young age. Started fighting as an amateur when I was 13. It got to a point where I turned 16, 17, and you start realising there's other things going on, and I fell off the wagon a little bit and went and enjoyed myself. But you could say, oh, I wish I never did that, because where would I be now? I was set for a GB squad to do all that sort of thing. I did a half scholar at Bristol, went to Tenerife and trained with like all the boxing lads from GB and stuff like that. But I don't regret anything because I'm now here,
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't have had that time out then, maybe I would have fell off somewhere later down the line. I probably would have turned pro.
Yeah. I mean, I think I saw the interview with IFL where John mentioned Glastonbury didn't see you pretty much after Glastonbury, is that right?
Yeah. First one happened when I was 17, and then it took hold of me for a few years, let's say.
Being around sort of Riddy, Seymour Riddy's achieved. I mean, that must help you and must help you focus. I mean, to move forward in your career as well.
100%. I mean, not only the fact that me and him started boxing at a similar time, and when I was sort of out the ring doing whatever I was doing, seeing him flourish in a way and get his titles and do really well, that also helped me sort of find my way back to boxing as well. I thought, well, if we start at the same time, both decent level lads, what can I do myself? And also during lockdown, he's active, he's fighting still, and that gives me and Shabir, it gives us all that extra motivation to still want to stay on it and keep grinding.
Definitely. I mean, John said as well, you bring a massive sort of fan base with you. I suppose one good thing that we could take on this pandemic that is ending is that maybe the next fight, maybe you can bring all those fans with you, mate.
That'd be amazing. I mean, like I said to you off camera before, like during this time, my fan base has only grown, I think. I took 160 people to Swindon to watch me fight for my third professional fight. So it just makes me think as soon as I get this first live fight, I think I'm going to get 200 plus, So it's going to be crazy. I'm doing it all for Stroud, getting Stroud put on the map. There was only one sort of pro from early 2000s, heavyweight Lee Alice, who actually won a title from Stroud. So I'm going to win that southern area, go on to hopefully the English, and then the very long goal down the road is British,
Yeah, wicked, mate. Do you think that's one of the reasons why maybe, being managed by John is the fact that the fan base is such a massive thing as a boxer being able to sell tickets, isn't it?
100%. I think as we see all the time, you could be a really good fighter, and if you can't sell if you start from the bottom anyway, you could be a really good fighter, and if you can't sell the tickets, then you can't get anywhere. So it's a massive plus for me to be able to sort of build on what I've already got from my local fan base. I mean, I've always been quite a big sportsman in my local area, so playing football, rugby, so I bring quite a lot of friends and people that back me from those sort of areas as well, which is always good.
Oh, wicked. Another thing that we like to talk about boxers with is social media. I mean, it's such a massive thing at the moment. Are you a fan of social media? Are you a fan of sort of all this sort of beef on Twitter? Are you going to be part of that, do you think, in your career, or are you going to be more sort of let the boxing do the talking?
I'm more myself. Like me really couldn't be sort of more of polar opposite people, really. Styles, the way we are, but at the same time we gel together as well. So it's mad. But yeah, I'm sort of more of a person to let my boxer do the talking. I mean, I'll talk myself into a fight, no problem. I mean, if I think I deserve the fight and I think I could beat someone, then who am I to not say that and back myself? 100% I'll back myself all the time, and I'll fight whoever as well. I'm not worried about anyone. I think I've got the skill set to take me to the place I want to go, and in order to do that, sometimes you've got to make a bit of noise.
Yeah.
And so when the time comes, the noise will be made.
Definitely. So looking at the British sort of 147 scene, obviously you've got Conor Bennis on doing great things at the moment.
Yeah.
Is there anybody sort of domestically you look at and think, I definitely want to fight him in the future?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, my sights are set on the southern area title at the moment, who I think Sam Gilly currently holds, unless he vacated it when he was fighting Danny Ball. So that's sort of the first step for me, So as soon as I can, couple 6-rounders, maybe an 8-rounder, and then I'm going to be looking at hopefully getting an eliminator, and then pushing on to that southern area title, bring that back to Stroud.
Wicked, mate. I mean, we sort of touched on there, but I suppose lastly, I mean, the ideal scenario for 2021, mate, would be what?
Well, yeah. So as soon as I can get the couple 6-rounders in, because they're sort of my last sort of learning fights, you know. I want to get a live fight. I want to sort of get a decent sort of ranking for the end of this year, really. In an ideal world, it'd be nice to be somewhere near to getting the 7-area title by the end of this year. If things go to plan and it all opens up in June, I think the fight's going to come in thick and fast. You know, I think I could potentially make up what I've lost out on pretty quick, without injury and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, another thing sort of boxers in your position need, I think that people forget, you know, is the help of sponsors, mate. I mean, how much have they helped you to, you know, to live the dream of being a boxer?
Oh, massively. I mean, from when I first started, I've had people that's been with me from the start of my career. So 2 years ago, some people have taken a different turn, and I've also got some new sponsors coming on. So it's absolutely massive. I mean, just want to say thanks to everyone that's sort of helped me along the way. You've got R&M Decorators from my old man. You've got Kibble, Kiblek Electrical and Security, Systems Barbers, Believe Interiors, MRCB Home Improvements, Champion Home Improvements, RSG Construction, Pew Plus, and then also my boy, local from Stroud, who we sort of are rising together, the Goodness Kitchen, my boy Luke Collins. So yeah, really appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot.
Oh, wicked. Well, Max, thanks, you know, for your time today. We'll wish you all the best in 2021. Let's get that 5-0.
Let's get it going. Let's go.
And yeah, we'll have to catch up again soon, mate. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, appreciate it,
Max.
mate. Thank you.
Wicked.